Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chalavet Movies. My name is John, and this is going to be what movies I watched in the month of March 2022. Now, funny enough, we haven't watched that many movies this month. There's been a lot of other things going on, namely the shelves, which are getting there, and also the TV. Now, I've got a full video of the TV coming up, but the short story is the TV itself is absolutely spectacular. I'm starting to get to grips with it, and that means I'm trying to get into the workings of it, how to put the necessary settings into it. What I will say, the black levels, when you talk about black levels in a movie, and also like colourful stuff, I've never seen black levels like I have on this TV. It's just jet black. But there will be a good video coming up. It will talk about the pluses of this TV and also the very much negatives of the stand that it came along, and all to do with the stand and the feet. Actually, the Debs will be making a cameo guest appearance in the video coming up to do with the TV. So hopefully you'll find the TV video interesting, and also I need to get into it a little bit more to find out exactly what this TV is about. So that's coming up quite soon. So first up, we watched on Netflix Red Notice. Now, Deborah had been after watching this for quite a while, and I'm quite up for it as well because I think the cast is a good cast. And yeah, we had a great time with it. We think it was quite fun. It's one of those movies where it's never going to sort of offer you anything like of a head scratcher. It's just an out-and-out action movie with some comedy thrown into it. I found it to be quite good as well. There's a lot of twists and turns in this movie that I wasn't quite expecting. It's a fun watch. It's nothing more than that. But I don't know if it'll ever come out on physical media. But if it did, me and the Debs would definitely buy this. Hopefully on 4K, because it'll look really good on Netflix. That's Red Notice. Next up, I watched Last Night in Soho, and I had a great time with this movie. But I did want to see it because it's an Edgar Wright movie. I did think it would look spectacular. I got it on Blu-ray because the 4K doesn't have a slip. I don't think I'll be upgrading this to 4K, although I did like the movie. But I found that I was kind of underwhelmed by it a bit. Now, I think I had the wrong mindset when I went into this movie. I think I was judging it from a different point of view, like a giallo, but more a sort of, how can I put it, a giallo that's maybe a modern day take on a giallo, but it's not like that. So what I need to do is I need to rewatch this. I did enjoy it. I did think it looked spectacular. I thought the music was absolutely brilliant. Even though I'm not a big fan of 60s movies, I did really appreciate the choices of music that was put in here, as Edgar Wright does. He does great on everything. He's a great director. He's a great visual director, and also he puts great music in at the right places, and that can really add to a movie. So I do need to get this rewatched. First of all, I'd said that I was quite let down by it, but I think on reflection, I do need to come at it from a different angle, and I do think that in the future when I watch it again, I will have a better time with it. I'm not taking anything away from the movie. It is a really good movie, but I found that I think I was wanting to be more scared, and it's not a scary movie at all, but maybe it's not meant to be that way. Maybe it's meant to be more of a sort of a twist on a sort of ghost tale. So on reflection, I did like this movie, but I do think I need to rewatch it. That's Last Night in Soho. Next up, we watched on Netflix The Adam Project. Now, me and Deborah had a great time with this. Yes, it's just a bit of fun, but it's a good story actually. It's done in a good way, and I think that the actors in here and the way that it was shot and the way it was laid out, I found it to be a really good, entertaining movie. Nothing more than that. It's not one of these movies that you think, oh yes, it's breaking some sort of boundaries with this sort of time traveling thing. It's not at all, really. It's just sometimes you get these movies when you just want to just watch a good, entertaining movie, and this was one of them. The other one, Red Notice, that we watched as well, you could put that in the same sort of bracket to just say you just want to be entertained for a couple hours, and nothing more than that. But I did think that the young lad in here who played Ryan Reynolds as a kid was really good as well. And no, I thought this was. I thought it was going to be good. I thought I was going to enjoy it, but I thought that it was one of the ones that were enjoyed a little bit more than we thought. Same with Red Notice. A lot of people had wrote that one off, but I think it was a decent watch. So that's The Adam Project. Next up, I watched She Freak. Now this here was such a good movie. Actually, I'm saying such a good movie. It's a bad movie. It's done badly. Its budget must have been pretty much zero, and the whole, if you've seen the film Freaks, you'll definitely know what this film's all about. But it's got some quite good twists on it. It's set in a fairground, which I like movies set in the fairgrounds actually. And the picture quality on here for being one of these AGFA releases is absolutely sensational. It looks brilliant. I don't know how, because usually when you get them from here, even when they say they all come from a 4K restoration, they do look like sort of trash. But I kind of like that in a way. This movie is definitely the best looking out the AGFA range. and I recommend all of the titles. To a certain extent, you'll have a lot of fun with them. I love this slipcover. I love that whole presentation that they're doing on these movies. I can't wait to see the next couple that they've got out, because it looks like they're releasing 2 a month, and I rate them very highly. And I think these will probably all come down in sale, unless they're all like limited, which I don't think they are. So that's, if you fancy just a sort of fun 60s movie that's a little bit, it's got a lot of stuff that isn't PC, which is, you know, these days sometimes you want to see movies that are like of a certain era, which don't have all the PC qualities that sometimes are overdone today. So highly recommended by me. That's She Freak. So this month we didn't watch as many movies as we usually do, but this is my top 3 recommendations for this month. So at number 3 is Master Z, the Ip Man Legacy. Now this movie here, John Hall told us about this movie, so you've got to see it. And I managed to track it down. And of course, when you manage to track it down, what do you see in CX the next day for the same price, actually £8? But this film, wow. And yeah, so this movie is a spin-off from one of the characters from the Ip Man, the proper Ip Man films. And this has some flashbacks with Donnie Yen in it, but it's more to do with his story here. I would like to see the series progress a little bit further, actually. I think it's got some legs left. This was released in 2018. And also, when I put it on my old TV, saying old TV, it's still a great TV. It's in a Sony Bravia, but I don't know what sort of model number it is, although it's about 8 years old. This movie looked absolutely sensational. In fact, some of the times I was looking at it, I thought this looks even better in the 4K. I know that sounds a bit daft, but the colours on it were just unreal. The sharpness, the detail, and just, it was one of those things where I thought this would look sensational. Although I haven't tried it yet on my new TV. This would look unreal. So some of these Blu-rays, actually these newer Blu-rays, do have that sort of element that could kind of match a 4K presentation. So this movie sits really well in the Ip Man universe. To be honest, this movie seems like it looks exactly like Ip Man 4, which looks unbelievable on 4K. So for that reason, I do if you see this cheap in CX, get it, because you'd be really blown away by this movie. And it does stand alone. You don't need to see Ip Man before you see this movie. So that sits at number 3 in my recommendations of the month. That's Master Z, Ip Man Legacy. So coming in at number 2 is The Batman. I had a great time in this movie. I went to see this with my son. Actually, he paid us in, so that was even better. He'd already seen this movie. This was his second time seeing it. He's actually seen it 3 times, and he's blown away by this movie. Thinks it's great. I really enjoyed it. I thought that the running time was okay. I didn't have any problems with it. I didn't feel that the movie dragged in any way. I was really, I'd done about a 4-hour cut maybe, but I wouldn't like to see a 4-hour cut at the cinema. But maybe on home video, if they stick that in the disc, that would be a great thing to watch. Although I bet they don't. I bet they'll put that in another. Everyone would buy it, and they'll come out and maybe when the next one's going to come out, they'll come out with this 4-hour cut. I think that this movie delivered. I think it was a good, different sort of look at Batman, the Batman, and I think that it went in the sort of route of him being a sort of sleuth rather than a sort of really one of these action stars. Although there's a lot of action in the movie, the actual bad guys are brilliant. The Riddler and also the Penguin are totally different spins on anything you've ever seen before, which is good in a way, because sometimes when you see the Penguin as the Penguin and all of the things, it doesn't really, you'll get used to it and you'll not be wowed by it. So they need to do something different with it, which they have done. And I hope that they do a trilogy of these movies, and they take it to this wherever it's going to go. And I'm fully on board with this version of Batman. And I think one of the best stars of this series is the Batmobile. More of the Batmobile in the next movie, please. So that's at number 2. That's The Batman. So my number 1 recommendation for the month of March is, and I think you know where I'm going to go with this one, Cannibal Man. I've talked about this quite a few times. I've got to say that this movie surprised me in a way that I didn't think it would. One of the best things about this movie is I didn't expect it to go where it was going to go. I found this to be more like a comedy. I know that sounds really, if you see the cover and you see what this movie is all about, you think comedy, really? But the things that happen to this, I'm going to say poor fella, he's killing people all left, right and centre. But so this film takes place over a week, and you could say this is the worst week of his life. it's done so well actually, and it's funny as well when these movies come out and they'll say, a lot of people say this is the worst video nasty you'll ever see in your life, mainly because it's so bad and awful and not watchable. And you get it and you think, wow, this is anything but that. The print from Vinegar Syndrome, I watched the both cuts on here. It looks absolutely brilliant. The shorter cut is the international cut, which starts off with all animal cruelty right at the start. The extended cut is the one that has the animal cruelty still in it, but it's in a different place. So the animal cruelty scenes in here are really brutal. Actually, it shows. I'm going to say I don't know if it was filmed for this movie or they've got some stock footage of a slaughterhouse, and they show you how they process cattle. And it's, I mean, I'm a vegetarian, I don't eat meat, but if I think it would be one of the ones where if I was eating meat, I'd think differently about eating beef for sure. But the movie itself is just a winner for me. I just like these movies when you get them and you're not expecting to enjoy it that much. You expect to put it on. Well, it's all right. It's in the collection. I'm collecting all the video nasties. It is what it is, and I'll put it to one side and never watch it again. That's the way I thought I was going to do with this. But at the moment, this is one of my favourite ever video nasties. It's really up there with all the other ones that I think are absolutely amazing. And probably titles you've heard of all the time. This is one that you probably don't hear about that much. But I would love to think that, as I said before, that 88, who are working closely with Severin these days, I would love to think that 88 would pick this one up and try and get it into the UK uncut. I think the movie will get through uncut. It's just the animal stuff. Will that get uncut? Well, if it doesn't make it, I don't think it's going to take any. Not going to detract from the film at all. You know that this fella works in a slaughterhouse, and I think that's all you need to know about it, because all the other things that pertain to that particular, he needs to work in a slaughterhouse for this movie to work. Don't want to give any sort of plots away or plot twists away, but they could sort of more or less imply that as opposed to showing it. But that remains to be seen. I just think that the connection that 88 do have with Severin might make this a movie that could come out in the UK. And if it does come out in the UK, I urge you to buy it, because this is one of my favourite movies of all time, I can say. This would definitely be in my top 20 movies of all time. I can't believe I'm even saying that, after more or less thinking it's just going to be one that you would watch once and put in the corner and forget all about. So highly, highly, highly recommended. That's number one. That's Cannibal Man. So okay, I'm going to go back to my telly now, and I'm going to start working through some of the settings. So when I do a review on it, as opposed to showing the unboxing and what went wrong with the stand, I can then tell you about what the pros are of the sound and the picture, and after having a deep dive into it and finding out exactly what it's like, and also to get the right settings for the TV. Okay, so thanks for watching. You take care, and I will see you on the next video. Cheers.